As I mentioned before the break, we were talking about passwords and authentication. There are lots of questions about this. How often do you change your password? Are you using the same password for all your platforms and all of that? And DK Saiba, the youngest in charge, of course, is joining us for this particular conversation. But of course, you can send in your messages, though, wherever that you're watching the show from. If you've got any questions about passwords, you can send that in on 0553 000035. I beg your pardon. 0553 000035. Send in your WhatsApp messages right before we wrap up at 7:30 so that he can answer them for you. 0553 000035. DK, good morning.
Good morning, bro.
You good?
I'm great.
Fantastic. Passwords and authentication.
Yeah.
What's a password supposed to do?
Right, to protect your account. Yeah. So password. The difference between your account and my account is possibly the password. The username is already known. Yeah. It's the password that makes the difference. So the password is there to give you sort of protection, to protect your account from the other. So yes, when you talk about password, they are very key on the internet today, as we all use these technological devices. Okay,
and we use our password for all platforms. I mean, from our Momo, email, WhatsApp, Facebook, all other platforms. Yes. What's the best way to protect your account using the password?
Great. So the best way to protect your account is one, you need to know, or you need to have mechanism of setting your strong password. We'll talk about that. But the best way in doing this is you need to have different password for different accounts. So say we have social platforms, we have your school or your emails. Email is different from your social platform. So definitely you know that your social platform is being created with an email. So you have a secure password for your email, then you have one for social media. For the social media, based on your own description, you can have different ones. But now you know, even if you have a Facebook, you can link it to your Instagram, right? So you could use the same password over there. But the point here is that it's about how strong the password is, because some of us might use one password, but that password might be very strong, right? But that is not the recommended way. You need to have sort of password. You should have a password pattern, right? You should have, some people say, I will forget my password. If you have a way, we have ways of setting strong password. I can use my name to set a strong password, and people would not easily guess it. The issue here is that we have something we call dictionary attack, and those are made with names in the dictionary. So if I'm using a password like David is in the dictionary, so someone can just easily use that attack on my account and fish out the password. Okay. Right. So you need to learn how to set that strong password. But the best way to go about this password protection is having different password for different accounts. So you can say I have 3 passwords. One is for my emailing, for my business aspect. One is for the social account, and one is for maybe education. Right, so in case there's a big breach, your password wouldn't be affected, right? There have been instances whereby we hear that there has been a data breach on LinkedIn, data breach on Facebook, TikTok, right? And when we say data breach, what do we mean here? Because we're talking about password, we are saying that the database or your username, your login details has been made known to the hackers, the fraudsters on the dark web or on the internet. So then you go quickly to change that password, right? So normally to check that, we always have to, you can go to various total, right? You can check that over there so that you make sure that your password has not been breached, right? Yes, so you check that.
Okay, so you can use that platform to check it. But you're talking about, so generally, like myself and a lot of people that were talking about this morning, if you use different passwords for your platforms, you may forget. So people would want to go in for their names, would want to go in for dates of birth, would want to go in for something special that happened in their life. Is it a good thing?
Well, it's not the best to use your name. You shouldn't use your name in your password. But what you could do is you could introduce other things to make it, like maybe the password. I want to use password, say David. I'm called David, and I don't want to forget. So David, I can say capital D, and the A becomes at. So you know it signifies, or it shows like A at. Then I can do capital V. Then the I do it exclamation mark. Okay. And I do my D. It's still David, but I've introduced other figures or other symbols to make it strong. Yeah. So if someone is running, let's say, additional attack, there's no word, say, D at V exclamation mark D. Yeah. It doesn't make David. True. But for my password, that's how I've saved it. So the same David, I have changed it. Right? So when was I setting this password? I was setting this password, let's say, on the 27th. So, okay, I do the D at capital V exclamation mark at D. The day is what? 27th. I can say, okay, 2027. Just for me to add figures to it. Okay. And we all say that the best practice for password is your password shouldn't be less than 8 characters. Yeah. Or the length. Okay. You should have it. For me, I would advise, even if you're able to go even between 8 and 12. Right? Yeah, between 8 and 12. That's
very long, though.
No, your name. Starboy is already how many numbers?
So that's 7.
7, add some numbers to it. But within that Starboy, you change things in there. Okay. Right. So before Starboy, you can start with something, exclamation Starboy. Okay. Right. Yeah. Pound Starboy. At Starboy. You understand? So you are introducing those to make the password strong. Okay.
So what about you have your password, let's say your Instagram account, your email, there's a particular password. But then oftentimes you change the password. Is it good for the account?
Yeah, yes, yeah, it's good. I always say that your password shouldn't be too old. Okay. So we should change our password often. And being often, I'm not saying that change them on a regular basis. It depends on the person. Someone like DK, I would say, that, okay, there's so much attack on me, so I will have maybe minimum days of setting my password. But if you are just on a normal day, you could say, okay, every 3 months, I'm going to change my password. Or every 4 months. Within a year, I'm going to change my password 3 times, 4 times. Okay. Right? So you have that pattern. And this year, these are my password pattern I'm using. Right? Because we have what we call password policies for corporate organization, where we have ways that we set our password, how we store our password, how we keep our password. Right? So people say, oh, sometimes I set password. People, you know, people have this, they set their password and then they go and save it into their email. Yeah. It's a bad practice because when the email is being compromised, they get all your password. Yeah. Some people too are able to also save their password and put it on their iPhone note. Right? Don't forget that your note is being synchronized onto the cloud. That is the iCloud. And anything that goes to the cloud is not encrypted. So what about if they're able to access your cloud? That means that they're able to get your note. Okay. Right? So I'm saying that things that are very confidential, like your Visa card, you know, like those confidential things. For me, the best practices, I don't know how people keep their land documents. Well, maybe if you have land, you know, probably they normally have a C for it or case for it in their wardrobe, in their drawer. They can write it down somewhere and put it in there. Right, so yes, but the best practice is sometimes if you want to go best way to protect it, we have some offers that we call them password management systems, right? So you can employ or you can hire the service of these password management systems. They keep your password secure for you, and every day, always you could access that. But for them, you don't have free version. You always have to pay for something small. So that is if you want to go the digital way of protecting your account, right? But then again, you can also set a password and you still recall it. Don't forget that you have ways to change your password or reset your password. So even in the worst scenario, I'm not saying that you forget your password, but in the worst scenario, you should know that there's some kind of recovery way for me to change my password in case I lose them, right?
Wow. Hey, there's some of us who have the 4 passwords there, like 4 passwords for different accounts.
For different accounts.
Yes,
it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, I mean, if I can remember.
No, well, if you can remember, that's fine.
I have done some documentation on my notes. So since you said that.
So you know what? What I also advise is this: like I can save my password in my notes, or I can even write down my password here. But when you use it in your account, it wouldn't work. I reverse engineer the password. Okay. What do? My password is David123. You see David123, but when I'm putting into my account, I start from back. Okay. So I can just write the password down and I speak to myself from the midpoint. So I know that there's a midpoint A.
Okay.
So I start from midpoint A to left to right. Or I can just write my password. You can see my password. This is my password.
Yeah.
You have my username, but I can still not log into my account.
Yeah.
Because when I'm inputting the password in the account, I start from behind.
Yeah.
That wouldn't come your mind.
True.
Right?
True.
So you can set it, and sometimes even in my notes, you may see my password, but I've added something to it. And I know where my password ends. So it's about you being able to chemicalize the whole thing, or reverse engineer your password. Because people are very creative, people are very smart of late. So there are so many ways they could fetch their password. So that's why when it comes to the password, when you are going to a bit technical, we have ways that we make the password. Like you say Facebook. When I'm logging into Facebook, some of the devices, even when I create Facebook account to log in, I use my username and password. Ask yourself, where are they saving those passwords? Right? I just log on.
Yeah.
Facebook, I have put it into their database.
Yeah.
My username, they have my password. So how are they keeping it safe for me?
Good.
Yes. So we have something called hashing, right? So those password is being saved on the database, right? So every site, every system has got a database that keeps those details, right? So going into the database, they hash those passwords. Okay. So the passwords are not in plain text. So if the site is suffering from, let's say, SQL injection, where someone's using, let's say, SQL map, you run your command in Kali like SQL map -u, you bring in the site, they are trying to go into the database of their website to get a password. You may get the password, but it will be in hashes. When we say hashes, it makes no meaning. Yeah. Right. So when they are hashed, so that's some of the ways they hash the password, right? And we have others we call sorting. In the process of going to hash the password, they add other hashes to it to sort it. So in case we have pre-computerized or we have some hash tables, so if they are able to even get the hashes, because of sorting, they're able to protect it. Then we have other mechanism like the OTP, right? We have the OTP. The OTP is where we have only one-time access to the
the one that comes to you. Yeah.
You have it. And even when it comes to the authentication level, we have the two-factor authentication. We all know that. We have what we call the MFA. That's a multiple factor authentication, right? Then we have the OTP there. We even have the biometric. And we have multiple three-factor authentication. You know, now on devices, iPhone to say. I use iPhone more, and that's why I'm basing it on iPhone. Yeah. I can use Face ID. I can use fingerprint, or I can use
the alternative.
So all of these at the same time on one device. That's multiple factors of authentication. Right. So we have all those things helping you, right, to protect your account. So it's up to you to deploy what you want to use, because sometimes the providers have done all these things. I don't know how many of us even had used two-factor on our emails. Is it
the two-factor authentication?
Email? Yeah, my email I have.
Yes, that's fantastic. So some people don't do, right? Some people don't do. And also, please, your recovery. Your email is there, but you have a recovery. You can create another email. So I use it as a recovery in case you lose your account, because recovering email, it's a bit of challenge. It's difficult because, yes, the way of protecting is high. So when you are recovering it and there's no number to recover it to, there's no email, then the tools that you're going to use are all expensive. They're a bit of, you can recover it, but it's a bit expensive. So what we are talking about today is that your password is the key to all your digital things that you do, right? So we need to treat our password well. I have my favorite quote that I always say, is that let's treat our password like the way we treat our underwear, the way we often change them, the way we often wash them. It's the way we have to treat our password. So that, because if someone gets your password, that means you've been hacked. Okay.
The final one before we wrap it up. So when you're getting into other platforms, whether websites or whatever, they ask for your email and your password. I just want to know, how can you authenticate that this is a good place to put in your email and your password to be able to get in, so that you do not, it doesn't happen that they are trying to get your details.
So that's where, if you have different emails, so I don't expect people to have only one email. Right? You can create email, say, okay, my official email is david@gmail.com. I can say school.david@gmail.com. I can say social.david@gmail.com. I can say business.david@gmail.com. So when I'm doing something online, and it's just for me to go and read something they are demanding of my email. I put the social there.
Okay.
I don't use my official one.
Yeah.
Right. So we should have
at least
email,
two.
At least two or three. One, I have an email called test.david@gmail.com, and that one I'm just using for test, like going to read an article and they say I should provide. And what I've also found out that when we are going on some platforms, they usually ask you can log in with your Facebook, you can log in with your Gmail. We should try to stop doing that because you don't know the site. Maybe that site is harvesting credentials. You don't know. And because you had already signed out onto your Gmail using on that device, you just go, oh, sign up with Google. That means that you have entrusted the third-party software or the third-party platform to use all the details Google have about you, like your username, your password. Some of you guys also say, okay, use Facebook to log in. Right? You have to forget. Because if you say use Facebook to log in, that means that you are allowing Facebook database to source or provide those details to that third-party platform. And not even the third-party platform using it against you. You don't know how secure that third-party platform is. Because we have instances where the hackers are hacking those platforms, releasing those databases onto the dark web for people to download for free.
Wow.
It's there, so we have to check that. So always you can check it. And one site that you could always use to check if your password has been breached, it's very important, is have I been pawned? Have I been pawned? So you can just go on online, search for have I been pawned, and you put in your Gmail or you put in your password to check that if that Gmail has found itself on any data breach before. That would really help us today.
Have I been pawned? All right, thank you very much, DK Cyber, for coming through with this education. Always exciting and insightful, the conversations that we have here. So we're talking about passwords and authentication. As we wrap up the show for today, thank you, DK. We'll see you on the other side. Before we go, I want to say happy birthday to Abna Adom Nyako Efri of Nela SDA School in Kumasi. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday to you, Abna Adom Nyako Efri of Nela SDA School in Kumasi. And also to Mary Amabawa, today is your birthday. Happy birthday to you, big madam. Yes, happy birthday to you, Mary Amabawa. God bless you so much. So that's it for today. Many thanks for watching the show. And of course, we'll be back on your screens. That is tomorrow 5:30 a.m. through to 7:30 a.m. My name is Desmond Craig. You can call me Desifade in the Star Boy. And of course, I was here with.
And I had to watch it.
Up next is Good Morning Ghana with Daniel Fampofo. And of course, 3 p.m. we'll be back with an entertainment review. Today, we've got Lyrical Joe in the studio, and you do not want to miss out on that particular one. So stick and stay. Shout out to the production team. Bye-bye.